Fantasy is a manufactured world of wishes, scenarios born in our minds, shaped by desire, but sadly denied by life. Whereas reality is where we all live, unscripted, imperfect, unpredictable, always bleeding, meaning with challenges, struggles, and it's painful, it's pitiful. I know this because I've been there. I read the stories, watched the movies, daydreamed in class, trying to make sense of life, and probably you all have been there too. Let's not lie to ourselves. People finish a show, close a novel, and wonder, why can't our lives too unfold like in the stories, like a cinematic tape? Most of us, or almost all of us, the youngsters, including me, have been there. Oh, it's still there. Lost in La La Land. Lost in fiction. But here's the hard truth. Life isn't scripted. It isn't a Netflix series or Wattpad fan fiction. It doesn't follow the plot we want. The future remains mysterious and untold. Life isn't a fairy tale, and it never will be. It hurts. I know. It's sad, understandable. Though, it's indeed true. All of us here, or probably most of us, are escapists. Meaning, our bodies sit still, but our minds travel other dimensions, lost in thoughts, lost in worlds that aren't real. This is where the theme, every wrong turn isn't wrong, comes in. Picture this, picture this. You read a few stanzas in a poem or a line in a novel, or watch a scene in a film, you like it, you want to live it, so your mind becomes, turns into the film director and puts you in that situationship while you're reading or watching it. And you become the part of the story that isn't yours. Or perhaps, to make it more relatable, think you want to travel all around the world, or you want a luxurious life, let's say you want a Rolls Royce, or let's say you like someone, you want someone, but you can't have them because it's a fantasy and reality wouldn't offer it. Your mind, which is conditioned, trained to chase what life denies, drifts, escaping reality. Now, here's the thing though. Escapism isn't the problem nor the enemy. The true danger begins when fantasy starts to rewrite reality. Rewire our minds, shaping how we see the world and ourselves. That's the jackpot. K-dramas, anime, Netflix, movies, media, games, fandom characters, whatever, media, we swallow them all. We absorb them all. And then we spit at our own lives against that perfect fake life and wonder why we taste failure. Comparing yourself to others. Comparing yourself to perfection. Comparing yourself to a fantasy steals your happiness and your sanity, meaning common sense. You can't win or compete with a game that doesn't exist. Now, we all use social media, right? Wait, you know what? I don't need to ask that question. That's stupid. Anyways, we all use Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Facebook, and we scroll through our feeds, and then you see our, your favorite, let's say, fitness influencers. For the girls, probably makeup artists, and your favorite celebrities, and you see their lifestyles, you see their relationships, you see then those stuff, and then you start to, compare yourself. You doubt yourself. You go into spiral. You question the universe. You're like, how do they have a perfect physique and I don't? How do they have a perfect face and I don't? How do they have a perfect figure and I don't? How do they have perfect relationship, perfect partners and I don't? But let me give you a reality check. Filters hide. Angles lie. Lighting tricks deceive. Shortcuts, steroids, and Photoshop are being called natural for the content you see. But let me flip this. Think about the times you poured your whole heart into an artwork or studied, to an artwork, a project, a group project, an assignment, or studied day and night for an exam, only to hear someone say, "Ew, that's your artwork? Man, that looks horrible." Or to see a failing grade staring back at you once you receive your result sheet. Personally, it stings. But what about you? How would you feel? Would it hurt you when you receive a bad result or when someone insults your creation? Give me a raise of hands if it doesn't. Exactly. So if it hurts you when someone insults your creation or when you didn't get the good results you hoped for, how do you think the universe feels when you call yourself ugly? When you stand in front of a mirror and compare yourself to others, to perfection, to a fantasy, you're basically looking at the universe's work and you're like, this is artwork? This is creation? Nah, man, not good enough. So let me ask you, is that comparison even healthy? That's a mistake and the wrong turn. When fantasy dictates reality, when we measure ourselves and other human beings against perfection that never existed. Wrong turns aren't always wrong if you realize what's wrong. Wrong turns aren't failures, they are lessons. That's how we learn and grow. This is when you realize life has a way of tearing you out of your fantasies and throwing you into the light until the mind or the light that once whispered, fantasy is the map to reality, finally comes to an end. It shatters. And in that collapse, you awaken. Welcome to reality, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, moving on, we have fictophilia. Anyone of you all here familiar with what fictophilia is? All right, we have some. Most of you all don't know what fictophilia is, so let me explain. Fictophilia is the romantic attraction towards, anime, book characters, movie characters, anyways, like fictional characters over real connection. Now, you're probably wondering, how is this a mistake meant to make, or how isn't this a wrong turn? Isn't always wrong, right? So let me explain. This isn't always wrong because fantasy provides you a safe space to explore your own emotions and to explore your own darkest desires and process your own emotions. Away from toxic people, away from hurting your ego or your pride, away from the fear of rejection, away from heartbreak. That's why it's good. But there's also a time where the problem arises. The problem arises when you expect actual people to act like they swallowed a poetry book. To expect real people to deliver poetic metaphors, poetic lines like a Shakespeare monologue in real life. Yeah, so, we need to understand that fictional characters are written and made, designed to be desirable, to be perfect for literally everyone, almost like the 8 billion people out here, whereas actual people are not, idealized, created to be perfect for almost all of us, right? We are created to be perfect for our opposite ideal, like our soulmate or our own match. But here's the thing. I'm not saying liking a fictional character, having a crush on a fictional character is a wrong turn, because, we all have it, okay? Even if you all deny it, we all have. Even probably adults also probably have. Even I have. Even I have. Let me introduce you to my fictional crush. Sorry, wrong word, inspirational character. Meet Thomas Shelby from Peaky Blinders. So you can admire, you can admire your own fictional characters. Like, for example, this one has character traits. He has confidence, leadership skills, resilience, fearlessness, and discipline, and all that stuff. Without me changing my entire identity to that character, I can absorb, I can, borrow their own personal traits to myself. For example, he has confidence, I have confidence. I borrow that personal trait to myself. So it's a good thing to admire fictional characters. It's not a wrong turn. So wrong turns isn't always wrong. So coming to an end, coming to the last slide, we have dark romance. Anyone of you all familiar with what this is? Anyone? Okay. I don't know, no one is familiar with dark romance. Okay, so let me explain. Dark romance is a subgenre under the romance genre where it thrives on obsession, hostile environments, questionable content, explicit content, drug lords, mafia, criminals, killers, murderers, psychopaths, sociopaths, maniacs, all of those tangled up into a love story with happily ever afters. And there's a lot of, the people who like dark romance, some, not all, they expect that to happen in real life. They wish that same fantasy happened in real life. But let me give you a reality check. If that actually happens in real life, it will be a potential tragedy and happy death day, not happy endings. So like I said, the dark romance is thrilling on a page, addictive in a screen, but in real life, it's terrifying, abusive, and painful. We all need to understand that there's no such thing as a dark side to romance in real life, morally and ethically. Only abuse, trauma bonds, and violence. Now, for those who doesn't know what trauma bonds are the relationship between the abuser and the abused. And if we try to mimic it, it doesn't stay on the page or screen. It hurts others. It hurts us. That's why I said reality always bleeds. Reality always have consequences. So now you'll probably be wondering, how is this a mistake me to make, right? So this is a mistake me to make because one day when you realize, one day probably you're going to bonk yourself onto a wall, and then you will get your sense back. And once you get your sense back, you will know that this is, when you sense back that this is, the fantasy world will not be offered by reality, so then you will wake up to reality. And also, coming to a conclusion, all of this I said today, fantasy is fiction. All of this is dark romance. It's all fantasy is fiction. Fiction is entertainment. It can inspire us, but we cannot let it dictate our life, our standards, our relationships, our self-worth. And remember this, for those who are still lost in fantasies, no one can force a flower to bloom except yourself. Thank you.